And then I got whiskey up my nose. I know. All right. Talk to you later. Oh. All right. An embarrassing moment with my wife will sober me right up. So.
Was it weird because you did this whole thing like, I need my private time, keep the kids in the other room, I got to do my show tonight, we're recording, just entertain them, just give me this time, and you walk out there with whiskey coming out of your snot-filled nose, and she's like, that's how you record
That's basically it, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey everyone ever, and welcome to 20th Century Popcast, a show where we try to understand the present while living in the past. My name is Tim Blevins.
And I am Bob Canning. And Tim.
And yes, Bob.
No, go ahead. I cut you off.
I do feel like you've said a lot. Well, you didn't cut me off so much as prior to this, and I don't know how much of this made it to the episode. I think you used all the words you knew. We had a good lead up to recording tonight's episode that took us a little warming up to some jovial fun, perhaps. Some good old
laughs.
Fallops, bleeps, and blunders material. Some bloopers, perhaps, for the gag reel.
Yeah.
That's what we had.
Good
and now
times.
I'm exhausted. Pretty good times. Sure.
For me.
None of which is making for you just now. Prior to now, earlier.
Right.
Oh, good. This is the magic, listeners, that you don't get to hear.
Although,
because I'm behind
I have a
the
feeling
microphone.
they'll eventually hear that.
Possibly.
Someday.
Possibly so. But I don't think in the context of this conversation. So they might be just thinking, just do the fucking show. Because that's something I can't stand. A lot of podcasts I listened to recently, which I do adore, find that they don't need to edit out like the talking to a spouse as they pass through.
Oh my goodness.
Fumbling with a pet, or just the material they think is funny. And I'm just gonna talk about this for about 10 minutes and then we can start the episode. I just find it once again, bad radio. We're bad radio. I made that observation on the Seinfeld episode. I'm gonna make it now. Sometimes my banter is just crap. I'll say it right now.
Well, I don't believe that to be true, but let me follow up your bad radio statement with a question.
All right.
Will this podcast be about bad Radiohead? That's bad radio.
That is pretty bad radio. But yes, that's today's topic, everybody. Bob is kind of correct. We talked a lot about music. Do we talk too much about music?
I will never say we talk too much about music. The listeners,
but is music?
They can let us know. They can ask.
But talking, they can ask. They can ask if we think it.
I'm sorry, I got distracted because my wife was handing me something.
Okay. They can ask, they can tell his wife handed him a subpoena, to quote Purple Rain.
No, but our audience can let us know if we're talking too much about music. But I think you and I both enjoyed music a great deal growing up, and that's what this.
But it's a different conversation, I guess. That's what I'm curious about. Like today, we're going to be talking about music today. As Bob said, we're talking about a band called Radiohead. We're going to be talking about a specific album by Radiohead, and I don't know. I sometimes I wonder when I listen to older episodes, like talking about music is a different conversation, presentation, whatever, than talking about movies and TV. And I'm not entirely sure why. So I sometimes I worry that it almost borders on the drolling, like, oh, there's that. Well, we are that 42-year-old guy in the corner who's dropping all the Sonic Youth titles, or just music snobbery seems different from geek snobbery. Because music doesn't seem like a geek thing the way that a He-Man cartoon or a reboot action figure or a wind-up Mauser from Turtles or something feels geeky. Like, music doesn't seem like that, but it is. Like, the approach to talking about music is, right? The music nerds, there are such a thing. I guess we look at them as music snobs. Like,
it depends on your point of view. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. There are snobs. There are music snobs. But just like there are movie snobs. They can...
But we don't talk as movie snobs in the show. We're not...
Do you think... So you're saying that we talk like music snobs? Are we that?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, because I don't think I have the grasp of the language to talk about music, so sometimes it's a bit of a... I don't know, a bit of a stretch. I mean, we'll find out. We'll find out when we're talking today. I do find it And I'm wondering, maybe some of my caution here, some of my concerns stems not so much, as I'm saying, for myself, but from the topic that we're talking about.
Yeah. Radiohead.
Because, yeah, like, you're a fan of this band Radiohead, right?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. Well, actually, let me couch that a little. I am a fan of Radiohead. Yes, I have kind of fallen off the Radiohead wagon of late, but I was a big fan of the band in the mid to late '90s and early 2000s.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
When was the first time you heard them? How did you first encounter Radiohead?
It was in high school. It was Creep, and I don't think that'll surprise anybody.
What album is that off of?
Their debut album, Pablo Honey. And so, yeah, I remember this conversation.
Not Tupelo Honey.
Pablo Honey. But I remember conversation.
Tupelo Honey got a shout out on an episode of Friends. That was the most romantic album that Ross could think of.
Really?
I would have said Ross. I would have thought Ross would have picked whatever Police song "Don't Stand So Close to Me" is off of, but he picked Tupelo Honey.
Interesting.
By Van Morrison, maybe? I don't know who sings it.
I think that's right.
But Pablo Honey, I'm sorry, what were you saying about Pablo Honey?
Well, you asked when I first heard of Radiohead, and it was
I brought it up.
Junior or senior year of high school. I can't quite recall that. I think senior year. And I remember
that would have been like 93, 92, 93.
Yes. And I recall, are you purposely cutting me off? Or you just
No. I was just setting up a time limit.
Yeah.
Time frame.
Yes. 93. And
so you went to high school. You were in a high school.
Yes, I did. Jeff Blehar. Remember Jeff Blehar? I've mentioned him before.
I remember the name.
He's usually the name that'll come up when we talk about music and high school. Because he was into some cool bands that I was not into, and Radiohead was one of them. I knew the song Creep, but he had the album. I didn't have the album. He had the album.
So someone brought it to you in high school?
No, I heard Creep on MTV. That's where I heard Creep.
They were on MTV at that point. Okay,
yeah.
Because I did not know. We were in high school at the same time. I did not know Radiohead. I did not know Creep. I was unaware of them until our second year of college, probably.
Was that when our topic for tonight was released? The Bends?
Maybe I knew a couple songs off of this, but it's OK Computer. Is that the follow-up album to this?
Yes. OK Computer. That was after college, or just after, like 97. I believe that was released in 97. Hold on, I have it right here. Copyright 1997.
So maybe I've got to shift my memory. Maybe I didn't know Radiohead in college.
No, you know what?
I will say
it would have been our second semester of college. If you heard it in college, you would have been second semester senior year, because it came out early that year.
Maybe I'm misappropriating when it was that I was hearing them, because Radiohead as a band, OK Computer is the album I think of, although, as we'll find out listening to the Bends, I do know some songs off of this. Radiohead as a band of the 90s, as this impactful band of pop culture that people talk about, they are my least favorite band of the 1990s. I can't stand Radiohead. I hate Radioheads. And I'll be honest, I can't quite... Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, what?
Well, I was going to ask, do you hate Radiohead, or do you hate Radiohead fans?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's the fans. I don't know if it's the hype or the band. I can never really tell with that. It's just my view of Radiohead is that they are the epitome of... music pretension in the 90s. Music snobbery in the 90s, right? They were the band you had to get. And you know what? I didn't get them. It wasn't music that was impacting to me. OK Computer was not something I gravitated to, But so to talk about them is to really talk about me not liking something in the 90s, with the exception of the fact that the album we're talking about today, The Bends, I have it. It's in my collection. That compact disc is in my collection. Was it
purchased by Tim, or was it given to you?
I purchased it. I mean, I'm not entirely sure when I got it. I know that I got it this century. I got it after some time had passed. I picked it up. I don't know why. I don't know what. So you
wanted it.
I bought it used. It's a used copy because I wouldn't have paid full for it. But I mean, did you have the Benz when it first came out in 95?
Yes, I did. I don't know if I picked it up. I didn't. I know that I didn't pick it up the day it came out. I was still in my learning about music era, and so I wasn't aware that it was coming out. But I heard, I'm pretty sure it was Fake Plastic Trees, which we'll get to. I think I heard that first.
Sure.
And that's when I was aware that they had a new album out, and soon went out and bought it. In fact, it's the first Radiohead album I bought. I bought Pablo Honey after, like soon after probably, but I bought that after.
But Tupelo Honey?
Pablo Honey.
Pablo Hidalgo, the concept artist for some of the Star Wars movies?
No, Pablo Honey. Pablo Honey.
Okay. You know who doesn't like Pablo Honey? Ross Geller. He likes Tupelo Honey.
That's what I've heard.
And Uncle Tupelo. But so what's your memory of this album? What's your attraction to this album? Those are two different questions. But what is Radiohead to you, I guess?
To me, Radiohead is good music. I was immediately drawn to the instrumentation, the rock side of it, the ballady side of it, the quiet loud stuff, and yes, the quiet loud stuff, because that's what I have written down.
Well, you're describing sounds. You're describing the variety of sounds in the world. What is it about Radiohead that makes it Radiohead that you like?
I find the music, and I found the music to be interesting, and like it's the same but different. Like and it evolved too. Are we talking about Radiohead as a whole, or are we talking about the bends? I just want to make that.
I guess we're going to be talking about the Bends. And I think that's the only way I can talk about, because I don't like what they've become. I don't like OK Computer. I don't like the weird experimental sonic bullshit albums that came after that. The Bends is approachable. And I think while you rattled off everything music can be in describing it, I will say that the Bends is accessible. I can get to it. The Bends actually sounds like not what I think of when I think of Radiohead, even though I think one of their biggest hits is off of this. Yeah. But just kind of it sounds like 90s music.
Yeah.
It actually, for all my hatred towards it and all my annoyance that it's this experimental crap band along the lines of Sonic Youth. Whoa, did he just put down Sonic Youth? I think he just put down Sonic Youth. I don't really know Sonic Youth that well, but I get that it impacted some people, and I get that it impacted how people talk about being impacted. I think those are two different things. I think that's what it was with Radiohead. I never quite bought into the fact, and this is selfish, that people got them the way they say that they did. I thought it was an easy band to drop as I'm into experimental music. Sure. Kind of like liking deeper cuts off a Brian Eno album. Like, I love Brian Eno, and I love his poppy stuff. I love his experimental stuff, but I can't talk about him for hours. There's a lot I don't know. Radiohead just seemed to be the go-to music snob experimental band, whereas the Bends...
like the shortcut band.
I think so.
Yeah, you just say it to imply that you know music and that you're hip to the sounds, and you don't necessarily have to truly understand it or truly listen to it. But if you just throw Radiohead out there, that just is representative of what you might want to be. Might be what you are, but it's certainly what you might want to be seen as.
So it's not just me. You described one of my biggest qualms with this fucking band. Yeah. Which, again, maybe not the band's fault. Maybe I'm not liking fans. But yes, that was my take on it, which is what makes this album. Like, what's Pablo Honey? What's that album like? Does it sound like the Bends?
It sounds like a couple songs off the Bends, but it doesn't really sound... I don't think it sounds like the Bends. I think Creep is not representative of what Pablo Honey sounds like. It's more... just sort of straightforward. I mean, that's sort of a weird way to say it, but it's more straightforward songs. Just the band playing their music, a guitar, drum, bass, and singer. Pretty straightforward stuff. So
now you're describing to me how bands work. I get. Well, I guess I'm wondering.
Anyone can play guitar, Tim.
Electric guitar? I guess what's the anomaly? I guess in Radiohead then, because I was just about to say, so is the Bends an anomaly? But it sounds like Pablo Hidalgo is an accessible album. The Bends is accessible. Is OK Computer the one that I'm so focused on thinking is that atypical, not atypical, but just non-typical Radiohead?
Yeah, well, that's the shift. I think there are songs on the Bends that hint to experimentation and just try new things. And then OK Computer is just the jump forward from what they were testing on the bends, perhaps. And that's what OK Computer was. That's the jump ahead. That's where they take a theme and kind of, sing it into the ground. And
do you like OK Computer? Do you like that album?
I do like OK Computer.
Does liking that album impact your impression of the bends?
No, because for the longest time, I preferred the bends. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure how my enjoyment of OK Computer changes anything with the bends. I kind of fell in love with the bends first. That was my first Radiohead love. I really, really do like OK Computer. But there was a time where if I had to pick one, it would pick the bends.
I mean, I would. And that's maybe one of the reasons I have it and like it is I just got so tired of not having any way of entering those discussions. I mean, I don't buy a Red Sox hat, but that would be the closest way I could penetrate that worldwide, at least in Boston, phenomena of Red Sox Nation. I at least know where they play, and I can tell someone where Fenway is, so I have a connection. Maybe I bought the Bends, the album, just so I fucking had one. Because I hate the praise flowered to this band, but I know this. I already know this. It would have been cooler if it was a realization that came through the course of the episode, but I realize that's not the band, it's the fans. You asked me that, and it's true. I can't stand the fans. I can't stand the hype. There are plenty of bands who do things that I'm not into that I'm not angry at, but Radiohead I can't. It's too much.
But you realize that. And so, in the course of preparing for this episode, you had to listen to the bends without having someone talk to you about the bends, without you being told which songs are better and why they wrote this and what that means to them. You just got to sit with the album and listen to it.
I was laying down on my back.
Sure. It's a good position to be listening to Radiohead in. Did you enjoy the album? Did you like it? Or maybe we should talk about the album and decide at the end. Let's jump into it.
Let's jump into this mess. So the Bends, with its dumb cover of a man taking a dump, I assume, right? Or of a Muppet. It looks like the base. It looks like ground zero of a Muppet that's not completed, taking a dump. That's what I think of when I see that album. It's kind of like where the hand goes, but they haven't put the hair on. It's got the nose and maybe some of the googly eyes or whatever, and it's just taking a big shit down the arm of the son of whoever used to operate that particular puppet.
Wow, you don't like this band at all. I always just assumed it was a picture of somebody with the bends. I've never had the bends.
What are the bends? Is it not a dump thing? Is it not a poop thing?
No, it's an air pressure thing where your body is getting acclimated.
And there's a song that supposedly tells us that. We'll get to it in a second. But okay. So do you like this cover?
No, not really.
Do you like that Muppet? No, okay.
I just didn't think it was a Muppet.
Does that ever impact your enjoyment of an album? You just don't like the cover so you can't look at it? Or a name like Captain Beefheart? No, thank you.
Yeah, that's happened. There's a band out now.
Muzza Chunka? Is Muzza Chunka a band that maybe turned you off?
There's a band out now that's like
Super Chunk?
Godzilla or some lizard Gilla lizard something that just the name alone I'm like and they were like putting out 4 albums a year or something, and I've got no interest in them. Mm-hmm. And it's because of their name.
You made that clear when you didn't say their name.
I don't know their name. King Gilla Lizardzilla. It's
King Ghidorah?
No, that's the rapper.
Gyro?
Now you're gonna make me look it up?
No, I'm not. Let's get into this album.
All right, finally, track 1.
Bands. I know. Oh my god. So what's track 1 is a song called Planet Telex.
Yes.
What do you think?
I like this song. I like this opening. I think it sets a very good mood. I think it is one of those songs on this album that hints to some things they might do in the future, because it starts with this cool kind of reverby. They hit just a couple notes, but it reverbs and echoes and plays back on itself, and it just has this very cool tonal sound to it that I like.
It's their sound. I didn't know this track, but it is their sound. I don't mind it. They sound a bit like U2's Batman Forever song there. And I think I remember Kiss Me, Kill Me.
I think I remember at the time people were saying that Radiohead was the poor man's U2.
Were they really? Because they do. And I don't like U2 that much. There's a few songs I like, but they really sound like U2 through a whammy pedal.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, which I remember
those
fair
comparisons.
To the band. Really? Do you agree with them? Do you think that's apt, at least on this album?
No, I don't think so. There's rarely someone that says, "Oh, they're the poor man so and so," that I agree with that. I think it's just somebody
poor
trying
man. Like,
to.
do you think they sound like U2?
I don't, but I'm not a huge U2 fan either, so it's not like I've got like this back catalog of U2 noise that I could compare it to.
Well, let me say two bands I know you're a fan of that I also think they sound like, so I'm curious if you're there. At least the start of the song, do you think it starts a little bit like a Belly song, like the Boston band Belly?
Belly has never come to mind.
No?
And I would have to listen. I haven't listened
like
to
the two
Belly
tones,
much.
the fuzz tone guitar there kind of thing, the start to it?
Yeah. I could kind of see that. There's a few Belly songs that I can kind of hear in my head now.
Yeah, that's a early '90s sound.
Yeah,
I think
very
that's
90s.
a familiar sound. I mean, there's also a progression in this sound, in this band, in this song that I think you can, like, maybe everyone has this. They have a connection to the Beatles, right? There's some Beatles sound in what they're doing.
Yeah, they're a British band. I don't think there's many British bands that don't have a hint of Beatles in them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, I mean, those are familiar things. That's kind of, I guess, what I grasped out of this, because it's an epic start to the album, but it kind of goes nowhere, I feel like. But listening to it now, I see how I could at least get into this at the time, because I would have thought U2. I would have maybe thought Belly or the Beatles. I wouldn't be thinking experimental crap band that everyone's going to have a T-shirt for. But I get it. I mean, this does sound like the 90s, right? This sounds that you would place this squarely in the 90s.
I would say so, yes.
Yeah.
I think much of this album does, but that might just be because that's when I've heard it and that's what I'm tied to.
And that's when it came out. So of course it would. Well, the title track is track 2. It's a song called The Bends. I mean, and again, this is like so many 90s song, This could have been Live. This could have been Space Hog.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I meant to I wrote this down. Pablo Honey reminds me of Live.
It does. Okay.
Yeah.
So you would maybe get why I'm not that crazy about it. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I would have liked it if I had heard it then, but it wouldn't have. This would not have stood out. This song, The Bends. Do you like the song, The Bends?
Oh, I do. I like this song.
Why?
I like this song.
Why do you like this song?
I like how it builds. I like it's got a crushing guitar solo at the end that combines just this nice rhythmic, rock underneath, and then the guitar solo, and then I believe it's Tom Yorke's voice kind of singing over it, just like a sustained, sort of like that, sort of like my kid in the background.
I wonder if that made it to the microphone.
I can hear it, but yeah, no, I really like the song. It's a nice rockin' song, and I think what happens is that I kind of fell in love with the rock sound inside of Radiohead on this album, and as they veered away from that, I enjoyed that, but then it just they never returned to it, and so that was something that disappointed me as the band progressed, because I think they rock pretty hard.
So you remember this song, like you remember listening to this in the 90s?
Yeah, at the time.
Okay, I mean, I think I would have liked it, but this is not what my ears were doing in the 90s, I guess. I wasn't zeroing in on this, because I feel like at that point in the 90s, we weren't we striving for apathy? Wasn't our music supposed to be apathetic? Weren't we supposed to? I mean, I was apathetic, I think, at that point. And this music is a little more like go get 'em, kind of like boisterous. These first two songs, anyways, like Alive.
Well, the music is the music.
I don't know what he's saying, because I mean, it's
you don't know what he's saying.
It starts with that opening vocal, but I have a hard time with his voice. I realized this as the album went on. Tom Yorke's voice, I know he's doing something, but half of the time I'd rather this almost be an instrumental track. I don't remember his voice as much of this, except for the opening yas of the vocal. But
and I'll be honest, I'm right there with you about the lyrics. It takes me a long time with Radiohead and Tom Yorke singing to get the lyrics, and so to me, like you're saying, these tracks and even some of the others that we'll talk about, they basically were instrumentals to me. It was just the melody and the music and the instruments that I'm hearing and that I liked. And then as I pull words out here and there, you realize, and I've come to realize, that these rousing rock and good time songs are not at all. They're always about losing someone, not fitting in, living a fake life, wishing you had something else. The Bends I wrote this lyric down because it's just thematic of most of their songs. One of the lines is, you crush it, but it's always here. You crush it, but it's always near. So you're like, as much as you try to fix something or get rid of something, it's never going to go away. You can walk it home, you can kiss it, but still everything ends. So that's the Bends. We're talking about this great song with a great guitar solo and this rousing ending, but the song's basically about everything ends. So that is a draw for a lot of people, and I think that those people that are drawn to the lyrics, I think those are the fans that you probably can't stand. I think those are the fans that find the deep meaning in the music, in the lyrics.
Yeah, they're not finding it in the music because the music's doing something different. And it works well with lyrics that if these lyrics you're telling me are true, sure. I mean, a song that I understand people liking and a song that I get, and it kind of gets me, like, this is what Radiohead is when talking about being apathetic. You know, let's cue up track 3, High and Dry. I mean, this song was on the radio, right?
Yeah, this was on the radio. It had that cool video that they played all the time where there was some sort of heist or robbery at a diner or bank thing or something going on with a bomb.
Really?
With a bomb. Yeah, you don't remember that video? Everybody in the diner was singing the lyrics. So they were the ones lip syncing along to the song. And then as you're watching it, you remember, or you realize, oh, something's going on. Somebody's exchanging a package. Oh my God, that's a bomb in that package. And yeah, it was a thing.
Artsy fartsy. Did they have a lot of videos? I know they did some weird animated video for a song. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was off of OK Computer. That was the Paranoid Android.
Yeah, I could do without that. I always think of Parappa the Rapper, but that's not who that was. Like, it seems artsy, and that's great, but because I don't like the song, it probably wouldn't hold my attention. Do you like their videos? Do you watch their videos?
Yeah, I do. I watch their videos, including the Parappa the Rapper guy. I used to watch that video all the way through. It was like 8 minutes long or whatever.
Yeah, I can't stand that video. People used to. That's a video people used to show me. Maybe that's what it was. People would sit me down and watch that. Maybe because I like cartoons. Maybe because they like Radiohead. It's not about me, but I just hated it. That is something that made me not like the band. 'Cause I'm like, I'm not getting this video. I'm not into your video you're so happy with. And so it spread to the band.
The video didn't make sense to me. Didn't seem to fit the song. It had some interesting visuals.
There are plenty of videos like that from the 80s that I love. I mean, that, you know, haphazard, nonsensical videos are what the videos of the 80s were.
No, but that just comes back to you not wanting somebody else to push their thing onto you.
I don't know. People have told me that before, but I don't know. I mean, maybe, but it is... yeah. But, like, this song... I'm sorry. This song, High and Dry, like, I didn't listen to this back then, and I don't know why not. I mean, this song seems made for me, in a way, if I want to be down and out.
Yeah.
I mean, did you listen? You listen to this? I mean, it's because it's, you know, this is 90s, the 90s music I should have been getting. It's blaming other people. Don't leave me dry. Don't leave me whatever. Mm-hmm. So there's that, and also it's just the mood of it. This song starts out like it's a nice walking song. This would be a great I gotta go out and walk this off kind of song. But I didn't know this song very well, and I think I would confuse it with the next track, track 4, the Fake Plastic Trees. I mean, this is one of their biggest hits, right?
Yeah, I would think, and I'm no expert, I don't know for sure, but I would think that High and Dry is the more popular song than Fake Plastic Trees.
Oh, you think High and Dry is a more popular song?
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
Fake Plastic Trees, I think, was the first single off this album. Mm-hmm. And it did okay. And then High and Dry came out with a trippy, cool video, and that was like the bigger hit, and that kind of launched them. I feel like High and Dry launched them more than Fake Plastic Trees.
But as a song, Face Plastic Trees? The A-Team's Fake Plastic Trees. I mean, this to me is what being like sadly reflective was like in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, it's doing what High and Dry did, but I think it's doing it a little bit more. I've heard this one covered. I know this one. I could tell you the title of this one. High and Dry, I don't think I could, and I knew it, but I couldn't really tell you. I mean, to me, if I have to think of, do I like Radiohead, this is my go-to song. You know, this song is learning to drink alone, you know, in or shortly after college. That's what this song is. This hits me. And I think I didn't necessarily, I didn't have it because I didn't have a Radiohead album till the 2000s, and I wasn't borrowing anyone's because I had to maintain the anti-Radiohead stance. So this is an elusive song to me that I still enjoy when this comes on because it was a mystery to me. Is it about a hamburger?
Is it about a hamburger? I don't think so.
Okay. Because it has that "taste like the real thing" line. I always thought that's like a slogan for Burger King.
Coke,
is that Coke? Ain't nothing.
I think it's Coke.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, because Ray Charles
Coke?
would sing. Maybe it's Pepsi.
That's
but no,
just for the taste of it.
I always thought it was just about how nothing in your life is real. And
that speaks
suddenly
to me.
There's somebody
that's 90s apathy.
And suddenly there's a woman that feels like the real thing. That's what that is.
So it's not about it.
And that's where the song builds at that point too. Yeah, it's a great song. It might be, like you're saying, it's your favorite. It's probably top 5 of mine for Radiohead.
Yeah, it's a good song, and I feel like this is a bridge where it's kind of like I get what they become after this based on this song. Like to me this feels more experimental than High and Dry. I don't know if that's accurate.
You're saying is it experimental?
Yeah.
That's High and Dry?
More so than High and Dry.
Yeah, it depends on how you define experimental, but I did write down in my notes that this is far different than what they've done with Pablo Honey, where instead of just the band playing pretty straightforward songs, it takes you on more of a journey. Mm-hmm. You have acoustic guitars at the start with a faint string section underneath, and then a keyboard mellotron type of thing comes in at one point when most of the other instruments drop out. Then you get some keyboards in there, and then it builds up again. So it's definitely them doing more with instrumentation. And you didn't like this song.
This isn't what you wanted from them.
No. I love this song. Yeah, absolutely. I just think High and Dry is the more popular song. But I mean, for
what you wanted from Radiohead, this wasn't what you wanted. You wanted their more rocker kind of...
No, I think this is a rocker. It starts out quiet, but it builds. And that's part of what... Yes, like, I like the Bends because it has this nice, even mix of slower, reflective songs and then rocking, reflective songs.
So you're listening to the lyrics of their stuff. You're hearing that.
I'm not hearing it, and with most music, I'm not hearing the lyrics initially. I might go months, even if I play the thing every day, not fully grasping the lyrics.
I struggle if I can't hear the lyrics. And that's why I struggle with this album, because I can't hear the lyrics that he's saying.
When I say I can't hear the lyrics, I mean I'm not hearing 100% of the lyrics. Like I've initially will always be drawn to the music and the melody first, and then what happens is I'll start to hear the key phrases, and I'm like, oh, it's about feeling like the real thing. It's a feel good song. It's about being great.
It's about a cheeseburger.
Awesome. And then I'll hear more of it, and then suddenly the last line will play during a quiet moment, and so I'll finally hear the last line clearly, and it's like, if I could be who you wanted all the time. Oh, so it's not about feeling great, it's about feeling less than you could be, and you're going to lose somebody because you can't be that. And so that's how the lyrics generally would come to me back then, in stages, but always drawn to the music first.
Going to the next song, track 5, Bones. I saw a little clip of Bones today when I was at a restaurant. I've never watched a full episode, but boy, I do enjoy seeing a clip of Bones. This is another very U2 sounding song to me.
I wrote down that this is kind of a throwaway.
Oh,
this
really?
I feel like that is. This to me sounds more like something that could have been on Pablo Honey. It maybe sounds a little fuller, just maybe because they're more experienced and it's maybe better produced, but it sounds like a Pablo Honey type of song.
I wrote that this is great because I didn't recognize it. It sounded new. It also sounds a little bit like Phil Collins's There Must Be Some Misunderstanding, so I kind of like that too. But this is forgettable for you. So that must be jarring when listening to the album to go from, you go from High and Dry and Fake Plastic Trees into something that you could care less about. That's a letdown, right?
Yeah, it's generally a letdown. But it's also one of those things that it's like, oh, I haven't heard this one in a while, and then I'll listen to it. And then I think it picks up Well, actually, I don't have. Yeah, because it's more of their heavier songs. But yeah, you're right.
Honestly, I can't remember right now how it went for all this reading my notes that I enjoyed it.
Exactly. It's because it's a throwaway.
Yeah, which is odd. We're listening to this as a single unit, as an album. That's jarring then. I think of them as a concept band, and this album's not a concept album.
Right, no. Well, unless depression is a concept, and it probably is.
Depression's a theme. It's a real theme. But that's
I think following High and Dry and Fake Plastic Trees, unless it's just another amazing song from them, unless it's, Paranoid Android, which I think is a great song.
I do
anything's
not.
going to be...
I do not.
No surprises then. Put No Surprises next.
I don't
because you need
know
3 great Radiohead songs, and Bones isn't one of them.
No, but a good program. Pretty good program. So the follow-up is Forgetful Track 6. Nice Dream. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Open parenthesis, Nice Dream, close parenthesis. This is where I start to not like them.
Sure.
They're tight.
This is a very angsty. This reminded me of some of the as I was listening to this, and I knew we would be talking about it in a compact discussion episode. I hearkened back to our Pearl Jam compact discussion episode.
Linked below.
Where you were kind of put off by some of the songs off of Verses, which were teen angsty, like purposefully hard on themselves when there's no reason to be. And this song just is like, really? Like, what? Why are you writing these lyrics?
That's your feeling on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I think it's a pretty song. I think it's very pretty.
It's okay. I mean, like with a different vocalist, this could have been Throwing Muses. This could have been The Church or Echo and the Bunnymen. So why don't I like it though?
Because
I don't know why I don't like it. Because I love those 3 bands.
Because the song is too on the nose. To me, it's one of those too on the nose songs where he sings about being loved and protected and being listened to, and they gave me sunshine and built me a garden, and then in comes, that's just a nice dream, kid.
Oh, that's a great turn of phrase. Why don't I like this goddamn song then? I find this pretentious. I find the guitar solo so obnoxious. I bet it's even more obnoxious live. But everything you're saying makes me think that should be clever. That's good writing. But I don't know. It must be.
Maybe it's the way they're delivering
his voice.
it.
I think it's
maybe
still
for
his
me.
fucking voice.
It's just too. Yeah, it's too over the top drama, kind of thing. When you combine the song, the vocals.
Do you remember
lyrics,
this from college? Do you remember listening to Nice Dream, open parenthesis, Nice Dream, close parenthesis? Do you remember that?
I do remember the song because I do like the sound of the Nice Dream refrain. I do
Why
like
is
that.
it in parentheses? Why is it titled in parentheses? Is this another Rearviewmirror situation?
Because it's an addition. It's an add-on. It's
add-on
it's
to
not
what?
Reality. It's an add-on to They Love Me, I'm Great.
But the title of the song,
and it's like it's not real.
Open parenthesis, Nice Dream, close parenthesis. That's the title of the song. That's when you're looking at the tracks.
Sure.
That sticks out. That's a stumbling block. That's a just call it what it is. I'm too distracted by your goddamn name. Because I hear what you just said, but I don't buy it. I don't think that's why they did it. Nice dream. I don't know. I don't know. I'm harping on that because I don't have much to say about it, I guess. But I don't like this song.
Well, then the next song.
Just?
Just.
Yeah, I like Stone Temple Pilots, sure. No, I like this song. I do like this song. The chorus is cool. This is actually, I don't know if I said at the start, this is the one I listen to a lot.
Yeah.
I've put this on mixtapes. I always get the chorus in my head. I like it, but I can even hear in the first verse, there are hints of what I don't like to them. Something is building in this. This was a radio hit as well, correct?
Yeah, it was. At least in Boston, because that's where I heard it most often.
Does this sound typical of them, in your opinion? Is this a typical... I don't mean typical like they did it again, but it's like, this sounds like Radiohead.
This was the typical sound of at that time. This is what drew me, this is like Creep. It has a lot of creep...
More pea honey?
...to it, because it's got that sudden song break where the guitar just kicks in. Just has a very similar refrain where suddenly just that's ripcord kind of guitar just tears through.
Do you like the lyrics? Do you do it to yourself? The more projecting on someone?
I did like that part. Honestly, I'll be perfectly transparent here. I didn't know all the lyrics to this song until this week. I love that refrain, like that. Yeah, it's up to you. You do it to yourself. If you're going to be fucked up, it's your own fault. And yeah, I mean that's what the whole song's about. Is
this one about a cheeseburger? We do it to yourself like you do it to yourself when you do it to yourself like we do it to yourself at Burger King. Is that not just
No, this is about sneakers, I believe.
Oh, the Robert Redford film? The Dan Aykroyd
vehicle?
The
shoes that you wear.
Oh, okay.
We should talk about sneakers sometime. I love sneakers.
The ones that we wear or the ones that Sidney Poitier directed?
The one that... Did Sidney Poitier directed Sneakers, really?
He's in it. I thought he also directed it. Am I wrong? Did he not do it to himself? He just starred in it?
He just started it, I thought.
So this song's okay. But, and this was the big hit, and this is one I know, and this is very catchy. This is a driving, rocking song. I like this song. And I guess I think Radiohead because I know it's off this album, but it does sound like a lot of other things. It does sound like Stone Temple Pilots. You know, they do sound like a lot of other bands, which I was surprised.
Yeah, well, I think at this time, Radiohead was kind of lumped in with the grunge sound, especially after Creep.
Especially after My Iron Lung, the next track.
You think so?
Like he's almost Brian Ferry for a minute, which I should like, but it just becomes Nirvana in the middle. It's just a Nirvana song, and I was already scared of Nirvana, so I didn't like this already as a kid. But I don't know, I don't like this song. I'm back to really not liking Radiohead full force. I can't make out the lyrics, and it's only 4 minutes, which is not epic by 90s standards. But I think of them always as having these epic in length songs, and this one felt that way. This just felt like it wouldn't fucking end. And I didn't like it then. I didn't like it now, but I was surprised to be, and I'm wondering if I'm manufacturing this. This feels really derivative. This does not feel like a unique, again, I think of Radiohead, even though I don't like them, as doing something different. And this, you just said it a minute ago. They're lumped in with grunge. They're lumped in with GAC and grunge from Nickelodeon. No, they're lumped in with grunge because that's what they're doing, right? They are a grunge band. They're not doing something new here.
Yeah, I think they're a grunge band, but levels above Bush.
Oh, sure. Which puts them slightly to the right of System of a Down, but above Better Than Ezra. No, they're not above Better Than Ezra. Someday we're going to talk the song Good by Better Than Ezra, which I think is the perennial song, the best song to come out of the 1990s. And I'm not even a huge Better Than Ezra fan. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about this sap song. Do you like My Iron Lung? Do you like this song? Did you already say this?
It's fine. Yeah, I mean,
but what does that mean on a Radiohead album? It's fine. What's the stance with it's fine? Is it forgettable?
I guess it just means I'd rather, if I had a choice between My Iron Lung and 5 of the other songs here, I'd pick 5 of the other songs. Did
you used to listen to this all the way through in college? Would you?
Yeah, I did.
What would you do? Would you just be listening, or would you be doing other things while it played?
I would be doing other things. I'd either be doing homework or walking around. Well, actually, no, I wouldn't do it walking around because I didn't have a CD. Walkman.
Did you ever just sit there and just listen to music? Like put on music and just sit there and listen to it?
Yeah. I mean, no, not often. I always felt like I needed to do something else.
No?
And a lot of times it would, I'll be perfectly honest, this is going to sound nerdy, I guess, but a lot of times I would juggle. So I guess that's me just listening, because I can't just lay there doing nothing and listening. So I would juggle and do nothing else. Okay. And when you're juggling, you're just kind of in a state where you're not really concentrating on the juggling balls because it just sort of happens, it flows. And so you're just in this state of your mind is sort of blank. And so I enjoyed listening to music when I juggled because my mind just sort of emptied.
Bob juggled, listeners. That's something Bob did, But no, I mean, I want to mock it, but I'm not gonna because one, I can't do it, and you can, and that's a skill.
I'm just being honest. I think what you just said, the question,
and I think how you responded and your answer says something. I think it's more than just an answer to my dumb question. It is how you're interacting with this music.
Yeah.
and how you're going through it. And it soundtracks a mechanical task. That's how you can listen to it. And that sounds like that's across the board. Like you couldn't really sit down and just listen to stuff. It had to be attached to something. I did. I would put on albums and just sit there. I mean, some of my greatest memories, and I guess it wasn't always that way, because like I'd try to do something, but I would always be pulled into the album. That's how I got to know these things. Radiohead wasn't that, because I was hearing them in the background of every dorm room that I had to walk the fuck past.
The phenomenon that Radiohead became, I think that you're thinking of, came with OK Computer.
So why don't I like this fucking album? Why was I already tired of them? Is it the next song?
Because you didn't maybe? What's the next song?
Bulletproof, ... I wish I was. That's there.
Yes. I think it's only 2 dots.
Oh, really? So they did it wrong? What the hell is that? 2 dots.
Let me find
that's 2/3 an ellipse.
Yep, 2 dots.
Stupid title. But no, why was I already irked by them? Is what I'm trying to figure out. I couldn't stand this song, by the way. Coming off of the Iron Lung song.
You had heard this song before, or you couldn't stand it now?
No, just today, listening to this album, I couldn't stand it. So spooky and experimental.
It is the only song...
Can't follow it.
Yeah, it's the only song on the album that stays a ballad.
Oh.
Like everything else either rocks from beginning to end, or builds, or has quiet, loud moments. This one is just quiet.
Maybe I could tolerate it as an instrumental, but yeah, his voice ruins this again. Do you like this? I know I keep asking you.
No, no, I don't like. I don't go to this one. I'll skip.
But does it
this
sound like
time.
Radiohead? Like, do you think people were liking something? Like, I want to know, why was I so already set on being adverse and not liking this band without really knowing them? Why was that? Am I shallow and dumb? Am I suppressing something? Am I creating something? Like, what? Do you remember me not liking Radiohead? Was that a thing?
Not during college, but I kind of I have a sense of it post college.
Like this episode?
No, like 61 Selkirk.
Okay.
Post college.
Yeah, I was not okay. So maybe I'm magnifying. Maybe I'm misappropriating. Maybe it was still OK Computer. I went into OK Computer not liking them when it came out. Not that I listened to it, but knowing it was coming out and thinking, another Radiohead album.
Huh. Then there must have been some people, because I really think it's people, that rubbed you the wrong way about it.
Maybe. We'll have to get to that in a second. Well, let's hold off and get into that, because what comes after Bulletproof ... I wish I was?
Black Star.
Yes.
Is that a Marvel hero?
I know it's a Filmation cartoon.
Okay.
Black Star predates He-Man. It was supposed to be their first, driven by an African-American character. He was an astronaut who crash lands on this other planet named John Blackstar. He got designed. It's a lot of He-Man stuff with characters and swords. He was designed. He was all set to be animated. They decided, no, a black character can never drive a cartoon. No one's going to watch it, so they recolored him white. And that's Black Star, everybody. But this song, Black Star, I don't know if it's a Marvel character as well. I love this song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
To me, it's the hidden track. It's the one that, and I've had this experience with this album. I came back to it, after 5, 6, 10 years, and was like, "Oh, Black Star. This song's great.
It's awesome." But yeah. Instead of talking about the song, let's talk about its placement on the album, because I feel like track 10, Black Star, I feel like it's put there by someone who doesn't know how to build a mixtape. It was really jarring, especially after the last 2 songs, because it kind of just fades in. It's optimistic and it's hopeful sounding, but it's just it's jarring how it hits. It doesn't really have a start, and it's this mood that they don't do at any other time in the song. Like, this belongs after Just, maybe, but even that's hard. They sort of
High and Dry.
I don't. Maybe
that's the third song that should have been there instead of the Bones episode.
I could stand a little less Bones. I don't know. Maybe because they built this song, and it's got an opener that's hard to place. But you would put it after High and Dry, huh?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this should be the last song, or there should be something quiet, and it's the next to last song. It's just, I would see why it's a surprise track or a secret track, because where it's placed does not make it memorable. If time had passed since I last heard this album, and I'd never, by the way, I've never listened, I don't know if I said this already, I've never listened to this album through until today, and I've had it for a while.
Yeah.
I wouldn't remember this as being on the album because it's so out of place. I mean, is this what Pablo Hidalgo sounds like? Does it sound like this song?
No, I don't think it does. I think,
is this an anomaly for Radiohead? Do they not have songs that sound like this?
No, I think they do. I think there are other songs on this album that are similar to this one.
Really? This is just upbeat in a way. And again, don't know exactly what he's saying. Blame it on the satellites and whatever, but more projection from Tom Yorke.
Yeah.
But what else sounds like this on the album?
God, I don't know. I think the bends kinds of sound similar.
Maybe.
It's got the same sort of
doesn't hit me the
quiet,
same.
loud thing going on.
This is a great fucking song. I put this on a lot of mixes for myself. I love this song. And if Radiohead sounded, I'm not saying they'd be my favorite band, but I probably would have, I might have bought this album if I knew this song in college. Probably not, but I definitely would have borrowed it. Like, I never even touched anyone's The Benz copies because I didn't know this song. This is a great lost song. And this wasn't on the radio. This wasn't a single. This wasn't a hit.
I don't think so, no.
It's great. I mean, again, it's kind of a standard 90s song, but a lot of this is.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it is.
SULK.
It's a SULK.
Okay. You don't like Incredible SULK?
Not really.
I'd never heard it before. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
It's almost a Weezer song. You know, like listening to it, I'm like, this is almost Weezer with a slightly different backing. It could be from Rent. The guitar kind of sounds like Queen. Like I think if I had known the song, I would have listened to this in college. And
SULK? Yeah.
I think so. Also, talking about not knowing how to put an album together, this is your finale. This is your last song, or should be your last song. This is how you should end the fucking album, I think. Although you don't like it. Why don't you, is this your least favorite track on the Benz?
No, it's probably Bulletproof is my least favorite.
What's your issue with SULK? Why don't you like SULK?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I've just... and maybe it's just now. Like, SULK was one of those that, if you had asked me before I had listened to this album this week, I don't know if I could have placed the song. I don't know if I would have remembered the melody.
So it's forgettable to you.
Yeah, it's sort of forgettable.
Is most of this what would be the second side forgettable to you? I assume from My Iron Lung on, maybe just on. So
yeah, no, because I only had it on CD, so I never thought about it split.
You didn't do that? You didn't break your CDs in half in your head?
No.
You didn't break them in half in your hands? Have we?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I didn't remember that. Your answer was a qualified no. I did not do that. Yeah, I mean, I think I like this song. Again, it's faceless. Like, I can't actually hum it right now. I don't know how it goes. I just remember thinking, yep, this is a song from the 90s. And that'll do it for me. But they still don't seem like they're from the 90s to me, other than my hatred of them. I don't lump them in. Like, all these songs I like are anomalies to me. Maybe they're not, but I'm treating them like they are. Because it just doesn't seem like this is the Radiohead people knew, but it's the one what they had in college. Like, what about the last song? To get to the last song, Street Spirit, open parenthesis, fade out, close parenthesis. What do you think of this? As a closer, as a song, as a track?
I think it's fine. I think it's fine as a closer, too.
Because that's what you want in a powerful album, a fine ending.
It's a downer. Lyrically, it's a downer album, and this is a downer sounding song, and I think it's a nice closeout for the album.
Oh, I feel like this would have worked before Black Star.
Down.
This could have played before Black Star, and you go into Black Star after this.
I could agree with that too.
Yeah,
I've always heard it as this closing song though, and it's always fit for me.
So you do remember this? Like, I didn't have the patience for it after the last two songs. I listened to it, but I was like, I can't stand this. It could be a Patti Smith song. Like, I was like, sounds like it could be Patti Smith, but I don't. It's not. To me, it felt like the album petered out with this. But maybe that's how, I mean...
Or fade out, perhaps?
Open parenthesis, fade out, close parenthesis? Maybe. I mean, is it a solid ending to the album? I would say no, but you think it's okay?
Yeah, I think it's okay, and I do believe it was a single.
That's what you were saying. I can't picture that. Because
I'm trying to...
That's not how singles work, I guess.
if I'm remembering it correctly, and I might not be, but I believe there's a video where they go fast motion, slow motion, like he jumps in the air as somebody's moving a stick under his feet in fast motion, and his jump is in slow motion. And I think that video is for this song, which is why I think it's a single, because there was a video for it, if I'm remembering correctly.
He just sounds like a big kid. What a big kid jumping over a stick for this video. Hey guys, I know we got a lot of videos to film today. What if I brought this stick? I thought maybe I could jump over the stick and you could film that, maybe do something with that. I don't know. You're pretty fast when you jump over a stick. How are we going to make that last in the song? I don't know. Maybe there's a way to speed the song up so the pace of the song fits with the stick. That doesn't seem very possible, Mr. Yorke. I don't know.
It didn't. That wasn't the entire video. That was a portion of the video. That was a
poor person's video.
A moment in the video.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't get this album as an album. I mean, that's different than what I thought we were going to talk about. But it doesn't... Is it cohesive to you?
Yeah, to me it is. To me it ties together well, but I've always been a fan of it.
What is it? What makes this album... Like, we listened to it as an album. It didn't feel like an album to me. It felt like a task, a chore.
Well, I mean, it was what we were going to talk about this week, so.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. To me, no, I like it musically. I think it just flows pretty nicely. Yes, there are a couple issues near the end. I agree with you there when it goes song to song. Lyrically, it is just about pain. I wrote down keywords that popped up in almost every song: pain, loss, broken, unwanted, fake. Almost every song has a reference to something along those lines. So yeah, there's a lot of that.
How old were they when they made this album?
It's a through line. But I don't know,
20s? They're in the 20s.
24,
really?
25?
Okay.
I don't know.
You could do all the 20s if you wanted.
That's what I was going to do, but then you could.
Well, because I mean, it does sound like 20 mentality when you describe it that way, which is fine, which is great. Doesn't sound experimental, doesn't sound avant-garde, doesn't sound like something that would bring me to other music.
Right.
I guess that's OK Computer, but I can't stand OK Computer. Do people think of this album?
I think so. I think there's a lot of people out there that, like I mentioned earlier, will argue which one they go to more. Do they go to
and you think it's this
or
one?
do they go to OK Computer? And for me, for the longest time, it was the Benz. I think as I got older, and as I heard other albums from Radiohead, I started to go to OK Computer because it's like the happy medium between what came after OK Computer and what came before OK Computer. So I probably switched it up a little bit there. But for a time, I would go to the Benz.
Do you like what came after OK Computer?
I do. I don't like all of it.
Kid A? Do you like Kid A?
I like Kid A. I like Amnesiac. I like the other ones that I can't remember the name
horrid. Those are horrible.
Their last no. Kid A is not horrid. Kid A, when I got Kid A and I put it on, I was
vomiting in my ear.
I'll be honest, I was disappointed. Because I thought it would be I thought it would be I was looking for the next OK Computer, maybe back to a little bit more of the Benz, maybe a little heavier rock stuff. And so when I listened to when I listened to Kid A, I was disappointed. And I kept listening to it though because I bought it and I played it again, and it was one of those albums. And I can't even remember what song it was. I wish I could. I used to know it at the time because I just had such. It might have been National Anthem. It might have been Everything in Its Right Place. Anyway, I listened to the album, and then all of a sudden, it just, in a moment, it hit me, and I just loved it. I was listening to it, and I think what I did is I removed my Radiohead expectations from it, and just heard it as what it was, just music, which I think you would disagree with.
Yeah,
but
a little.
And I was moved by it. I loved it. I loved the sound of it. It wasn't what I wanted, but then when I got used to it, that's not exactly what happened. But when I let go of my expectations and just heard it, I absolutely loved it.
Are they a band that, do they repeat themselves? Do they make an
I
album?
think they've started to.
They've started to. They're still recording at the
Yeah.
band, 'cause I know Tom Yorke has done some solo stuff.
Yeah, I have a solo album. I don't know if he did. He might have had
You
two. I have
sounded
one of.
ridiculous. I was so good for you. What do you want? Do you want my Radiohead thing?
I thought we were going to talk about it.
I don't know anything about it. I just know
have
it exists. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's right up there with Eddie Vedder's solo album and Steven Tyler's country album. Like, I know they're out there. I know that these people did this, and they might as well just use the Aerosmith Radiohead Pearl Jam name, but they didn't. Yeah, I don't know. They're repeating themselves now. Have they kind of stopped evolving? Has Radiohead, because they definitely evolve. If I can like this album enough and recognize it, and then I'm so lost with OK Computer and so disgusted with Kid A, and then I don't.
Have you listened to OK Computer, or did you just put it out of your? You didn't want to deal with it because of your already predisposition of the band. Because there are some great songs on OK Computer. Like, even if you don't like the album as a whole, there are some fantastic songs on OK Computer, including one really just kind of old school Radiohead rock song.
I mean, I think you're probably right. I think I'm just maintaining this mentality because it's so important to me. Like, I'm a little embarrassed I own the Bends. I feel a little phony owning this album that I actually enjoyed a part of. There is always going to be the part of me that, I guess, puts so much effort into not liking something, they're going to keep not liking it. But that's because that's what Radiohead is. They're not just this album. They're not just the next album. No, I don't know OK Computer. I'm also not going to go listen to it. I even have time to, but I'm not. Because I'm not invested. So since I'm not invested, I don't know why it matters so much to me, but it does. Why do I not want to give it a shot? We've come up against this before in other topics. I think with the Jaws, we talked about Jaws and The Godfather and some things that we've never seen. I mean, I've come around enough to own the Bends, to like some songs about the Bends. And honestly, I'm not having massive conversations anymore about disliking Radiohead, but I had my share of them. I had some pretty epic rants against Radiohead in my day to nobody because everybody fucking likes Radiohead. I was using them as the tool and as the focus and the focal point of hating music snobs. And I get this now if I flip it to a topic of like comic books or cartoons or Star Wars or something, but I don't want to have someone tell me why a song works. I'm not going to like it if they're telling me how it works. And I think why I don't approach OK Computer and why I'm sure I don't like Kid A, because I have listened to Kid A once or twice, is because I think I fear someone is going to have to explain it to me. And I don't want that. I don't want to be the guy who doesn't get something. So yeah, I'm just going to say I don't like it. And honestly, I'm not crazy about them. I'm not going to go back and listen to the Bends again. I'll listen to the songs I always listen to, but even the songs where I'm like, oh, I kind of like that now, I'm not going to put Bones on. You know, I'm not going to put that on. I'm not going to, what was another? SULK. You know, I'm going to listen to Black Star. I'm going to listen to Fake Plastic Trees. Probably going to listen to Just. Maybe I'll start listening to High and Dry because I don't listen to that one that much. But it's weird to have something that was such a talking point. Like, it defined me to a degree not liking Radiohead, and yet I can barely come up with the reasons why I don't now because they don't impact me. And nor are they trying to, and nor should they. Is there some way you want to sum this up? Like, where do we go from here? Because honestly, I'm soured on this album. I like the songs, but I'm like, I'm almost opinionless at this point about this album and this band.
Here's what I think we should do, and I don't know if this sums it up, but this is what I'll leave us with. We'll give ourselves a Radiohead break. We'll move on. We'll do some things. We'll talk about movies. We'll talk about TV shows, and then maybe a few months down the line, Tim, I think you should and I should listen to OK Computer and talk about that and see where we stand.
I don't know.
See where we fall.
That sounds like a lot of work. Why is music so harder to talk about? Why is it a different thing to talk about?
Let's talk about that next time.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. We're wrapping it up.
We got to wrap it up.
We've wrapped it up, people. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining Bob and I as we struggled through the Bends. And thank you for struggling through this 20th Century Podcast. That's the show you just listened to.
That is a funny joke.
say. But yes, the show. Thank you for listening to the show, which is also a funny joke. You can always find it at 20popcast.com. That's the main website. It's got the most recent episode up there. It's got links to all of our past episodes, so you can listen to them as well. It's got ways where you can follow through to subscribe to the show if you like it. If you want to get a new episode every week, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on Google Play, on a couple other things. I'm sure they're all listed there. Subscribe to the show. If you like the show and you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, if you could do us a big favor, we're pleading with you, we're begging you, if you could leave a little review. They have the option to put stars, to write a little couple sentence review of if you do or don't like the show, however you feel about it. If you could do that, we would greatly appreciate it. We'd be appreciative of it. It helps us out. It helps our egos, helps us get a little higher in the ranking because, as the show builds momentum, we want more people to hear it. So yeah, go to 20popcast.com to get directed to all of that. If you're on Twitter, you can always follow me on Twitter at Subcultist. That's my own personal Twitter. Bob, are you on Twitter?
Yes, I have a personal Twitter at RH Canning. You can follow me there. And if you enjoy hearing us talk about music, you can maybe enjoy reading about music from my mixtape blog that I mentioned earlier. You can catch that at superultramegamix.wordpress.com.
Superultramegamix.wordpress.com?
That's right, superultramegamix.wordpress.com.
Well, there you have it, people. There's the episode. There's the show. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back next week. I think we'll be back next week talking a little bit about Harrison Ford. That happens to be a movie on the horizon, so I think that's where we're headed. Why did I say that? That's not a tease. Ooh, are you talking about Cowboys and Indians? No, Cowboys and Aliens. That's what it's called. Mosquito Coast, Working Girl. What are you going to talk about? Sabrina? Jesus Christ, we're done. I'm done. I'm just high, dry, and just bones.
And presumed innocent.
He wasn't presumed innocent.